You know it. The post office. Now, it's right off the freeway, or highway, so it's noisy. I got a notice from Amazon that there may be a very special package. Now, sometimes I get notices. Okay. That's a good sign. Sometimes I get notices and there is nothing there, but this is a good sign that the notice is right. Do we have anything in the free pile? Nothing in the free pile, but there's the little library. Okay, this is E3. E3. I have a feeling. It's a good sign. Oh, it's heavy enough, and it's from Amazon. I think I know what it is. Let's go home and find out. See you back at the cabin. Hello. Hi, you. You know what was in that package, don't you? This is Candice, or Sister Minh. I am a Buddhist nun, for those of you who commented thinking I was a Catholic nun. No, we're maybe a little bit nicer than you might have had experience in your Catholic school days. Basically, Buddhism, no God, just joy and peace, and love for all creatures, including you, you beautiful creature. But we know what was in that package, don't we? Yup. A day early. Here it is. Oh my God. I cannot believe it that I have this in my collection. I just can't. I mean, I've been waiting a year and a half. A year and a half. That's a long time to wait for a book. So I want to talk to you for just a brief minute about the book before we get into it. I couldn't wait to look at it. I have not seen any flip throughs. And if you have had a haul with this in it, I have fast forwarded through it. I've not seen anything on the inside. The only thing I've seen is the Little Mermaid page that Colorful Country Life did, which is absolutely brilliant. If you've been living under a rock and have not seen what she did with that page, whoa, it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Probably my favorite page she's ever done. Now, my first impression was the cover. Oh, it's already getting dinged up. How do I do that? It's matte, but it's not the icky matte. It's textured. For those of you that saw my opening of the Archer and Olive subscription box for spring, and I was like, oh, this is linen. No, these covers are vegan leather. This feels exactly like that. If you've ever touched like a vegan leather notebook, and it's kind of a little plasticky feeling and rough, that's what this is. I don't have any coloring books with this kind of cover, with paper made out of this kind of paper. Very interesting. Had a very interesting smell that I did not hate. It doesn't smell like that anymore. So I spent all evening last night sniffing, because this is a day later. I decided I needed to go through this on my own without you at first, because I wanted to get to know the book better so I could talk about it better. Turns out that was a good idea, because there are stories in the back explaining each page, and now I don't have to flip back and forth. But then I just had to, once I finished going through it very slowly, I just started over and did it again and again and again. And then I even started a page. I have to tell you, this is my favorite book of his. I know this is a controversial book because it's very dark, but he has made most of the victims of these fairy tales, which are largely women, but sometimes children, young boys and girls, he's made them the heroes. He's flipped a lot of them around and made them the heroes so they turn around and get even. And it can be pretty rough. I mean, their getting even can be pretty rough. It's and I get it that some people didn't like this book. I get it that some people love this book. I get it that for most people, there's 1 or 2 pages in it that went too far. For me, there is 1 page in it that I find kind of boring, so I'm not as into that page. And there's 1 page that does disturb me, but I'm still going to color it. Not enough that I won't color it. And the other thing is, this is the first book I've ever bought or received that I want a second copy. Yeah, as soon as the prices go down a bit, I'm going to get a second copy. It's too beautiful. And I think I'll just keep that copy pristine and not color in it. It's just too, it's stunning. It takes my breath away, this book does. So the nice thing is that the opinions on this book are all over the place. So no matter who you listen to, you might get a slightly different opinion, and that's great. That's exciting to me. I like it when a book causes talk and a little bit of controversy. But I can't even express how much I love this book. So let's start. So yes, these are fairy tales that Kerby has changed the outcome on. And start off the bat, the paper is thick and very smooth. It's really smooth. I don't know if it's smoother than his other books, but there's like no tooth at all. So I don't know how pencils will work on this without having a base of something, but I never use straight pencil on Kerby's anyway, so I wouldn't know that. I always use a water-based something, paint or something as an underlayer, and then pencils or something on top. Now, I could not, I spent hours looking at it last night. I was up very late. I could not pick a page to start on for the life of me. So I decided to start at the beginning because I want to do every page. So you will see the very first page, the very first double page spread, which is right here. Look at that. This is like the wood carving. You see this again in the Pinocchio pages. I started on this. So this is Neocolor 2, and it's the first layer. So I'm just creating the background. This is Rapunzel, and we all know the story of Rapunzel. Well, in this story, the witch who wants to cut her hair never makes it to her because she empowers herself and cuts her own hair first. So this is not a double page spread, although I'm coloring it as if it is. This is the prince climbing up to get to her and the witch climbing up to do harm to her. And she's decided, screw that, I'm taking control of my life. She cuts her hair and they both fall. So here's the witch falling, and here's the suitor falling. She wants to be her own woman. Neat, huh? See? Yes, it's dark, but they're very empowering for women. It's a very empowering, a woman-empowered book. So I just started with the first one. Now, I will tell you my favorites when I come to them. This isn't one of my favorites, but it's definitely wonderful. And I always start with the background with Kerby's because otherwise it's overwhelming. There's so many details, but really, his details aren't details. Like, there's a lot of detail in the hair, but it's hair. So you can just paint it. I mean, his pages can have the possibility of going fairly fast because it's not a lot of little tiny details. It's just detail within a large item. So you can just paint it, which is what I'm going to do. This is all painted with Neocolors too. It took me about an hour. And then I've also started in with some pencil work on this page. So this page is almost finished, the background is. This one I'll be working on tonight to smooth that out and have another layer. All right, let's see what's next. This is the Red Shoes, which is one of my favorite fairy tales. This is where she finds a pair of red shoes and she puts them on and she can't stop dancing. The red shoes adhere to your feet and they won't let go until you're dead. I think this is such a brilliant double page spread because she starts solid. She's solid here, as you can see. She's a solid human being dancing. The other thing about this book is that if you think back to all of his books, he doesn't have people in them. He has nature, he has fantasy animals, he has mythological creatures, he has a space person in the alien worlds, but no facial features. He doesn't have people in his books. This book is all people and creatures. And so this book is very, very different. Very different. And guess what? He draws people just as well as he draws mythical creatures. He's just freaking brilliant. And I don't know if you've seen him, but he's very young. He's a young, very talented from the Philippines. And he's got a Filipino fairy tale in here, which is awesome. But as she moves on, she gets more transparent. So there she's starting to get transparent. There she's getting transparent and she's starting to fall apart. You're seeing her bones and her muscles and stuff. Here she is pretty much skeletonized from the waist up. And she's very see-through. And then she just kind of gets, disintegrates further and further until she's just a dancing bones and a puff of smoke, And just the progression of this will be so fun to color. So this will be the next one I do because, like I say, I can't, there's absolutely no way I can decide which pages to do. So I'm just going to go in order and do the entire book. I don't know how long it'll take, but it's not on my plans. I won't be putting it in my plans. I'll just be working on it whenever I feel like working on it. And it's just amazing. This and Alien Worlds. Man, Kerby does it to me, doesn't he? Because Alien Worlds, I'm doing the whole book as well. Okay, this is Bluebeard. So here is his, seventh wife coming to the door. Now that is detailed. And this is unusual for Kerby. He doesn't often have like little tiny details like that are actually individual details that probably need to be, individually colored, not just a wash of paint. So yeah, this would be a fine liner page or something. This page will take me longer than other pages might. But I love the play of light. And I love that we see the back of her and we see her keys and we understand. We know what she doesn't know. We know that she's going in to marry a horrible person who has killed every wife he's ever had. But she is told she can go, she's given keys. There's her keys. She's given keys and she's told she can go into any room except for one. Curiosity kills the cat. She goes into that one room. And here is what she finds. The previous 6 wives all killed. Now, by Bluebeard. Now, the cool thing is we're looking through a keyhole. So this is brilliant. So you could do all kinds of whatever you want here. You could make probably a metal would be a good choice. It could be any kind of metal, though. It could be tarnished silver or brass or gold or whatever you want. And I'll probably go for gold, but it probably won't look like gold. It'll look more like brass or something. And either way, it's a win, right? I'll just try to do a metal. And then inside, peeking through the keyhole, you see these wives who have been brutally murdered, chained up, left for dead. And she realizes she's next. Now this one goes on. Has 4 pages. And this is a double page spread. She is here. There's the living wife. You see her. She has joined forces with all the dead wives, and they are all around here, and they have trapped Bluebeard in a cage. So the alternate ending that Kerby is offering us is that the wives trap him, chain him, and leave him to die. They've got fire coming out. All of their own keys have come out of their breast. Like each one of the dead wives' breasts has a keyhole, which I think is a nice touch. And they're all throwing their keys at him. Isn't that beautiful? So this is a really dynamic page. And as you'll see in this book, now he did say they're dark fairy tales. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of warring. There's a lot of action. I mean, he is a boy. So these dark fairy tales involve a lot of killing and fighting. This is such a dynamic page. I mean, he has the ability to just, and here's a key. He has the ability to just really give a page movement, doesn't he? Now, one thing that people have complained is this book is so well made and so tight that it's very hard to crack the spine and get in there and they're right. This part here is going to be a problem in every page, every double page spread. I have spent a long time gently breaking this so that I could do this page. But it was tough. It was hard. I don't want to hurt the book, so it's a little bit tough to get in there. Okay, this is Peter Pan. Now, I've not seen any flip-throughs, but I've heard bits and pieces from people about what pages they didn't like, and I thought that Peter Pan and Pinocchio or maybe just one of those, was a specific pages that people didn't like. I'm not sure why though. This page, Peter Pan, in Kerby's story, Peter Pan has become grandiose in his powers and in his ability to save people, and he's become engrossed in his own skill and really narcissistic. So he has left everyone behind. This is Wendy and her brothers and the Lost Boys. He's left them behind, and I love it that Kerby has put it as if they were, I don't know, in these tangles of wood or smoke or who knows, doesn't matter. But they're crying, they're sad, they seem to not be possibly alive anymore. They're sort of cracking and disintegrating. And he's rising up, him and Tinkerbell are rising up to go find other battles to fight. So a lot, and that's a recurring theme. A lot of the male figures in these fairy tales become full of themselves and get in trouble, and the females become strong and fight. So it's kind of an interesting outlook. And then on this page, this is what he goes off to do. He just gets caught up in his endless fight with Captain Hook and Tick-Tock the crocodile. So, and that's him. And Tinkerbell's joining the fight. So Peter Pan, it's not that he's gone evil, but that he's just gone berserker, basically. So interesting, huh? And I think that's a really cool page. Okay. This is Sinbad. I love this double page. This is a favorite of mine. Here, Sinbad's story is that he goes off and has all these adventures, right? He has, I think he's the one who has sirens, right? He has mermaids calling to him, or maybe that's Ulysses. Sinbad has all these massive beasts he fights, and it's just, he leaves his wife at home and goes and battles. Well, he didn't change that, except now he artistically showed Sinbad's drive and his obsession with going and finding, adventure as being tied to his ship, unable to stop himself. And he put all of these adventures and these different beasts that he, throughout his stories that he encounters, all in one. So they're all attacking him at the same time. So it's really showing just sort of the inner, I feel like he's bringing our inner darknesses to light. It's kind of uncomfortable, really, when you think about it. Because really, when you read the story of Sinbad, he's an obsessed man. I mean, he doesn't really think about his loved ones. He just goes off to do these adventures. And so here he is. He's basically forever tied to his ship. And all of these monsters are all around him. It's very, very cool. He's got some really... And the person, driving the ship is, of course, a dead captain. But these are all... There's a whale with a world on its back. These are all the mythological creatures that he fights. And fantasy creatures that he fights in all of his different stories. They're just attacking him at one time. So a horrific nightmare, right? Really cool page. I'm looking forward to seeing renditions of this being done, because it's a very cool page. Double page spread. Okay, here we get to The Little Mermaid. Okay, so The Little Mermaid is my favorite tale in here. It's my favorite series of pages. This one and Sleeping Beauty are my favorite series of pages. This page is, of course, my favorite page in the book. The way My Colorful Country Life did this page, I don't think can ever be surpassed. So I'm glad it's further into the book, because I need time to think about this page and come up with something on my own, because every time I look at it, I see what she did and I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. I can't think of anything else. So this is unbelievable. So here in this retelling of The Little Mermaid, okay, the original Little Mermaid story is very dark. It's already dark. But Kerby, it's not Ariel and Disney. It's a dark story. I mean, good things don't happen to her. But in this story, she's the evil one. She has power. And so he takes a dark story and turns it a bit to where, yeah, this is even darker. And she doesn't have the best intentions for that young man. So here's what she looks like to him, but here's like her true nature. And this is her. I love this page. She's actually killed the sea witch with, like the Poseidon fork, and she's got the magic vial here. So perhaps she has stolen the sea witch's voice. Right? She has power now. In the original Little Mermaid fairy tale, she kind of is tossed around by fate. She has no power. She loses her voice. She lives her life in pain. She doesn't get the man. She turns into sea foam at the end and flies away. Nothing good happens to her. Here, she gets everything she wants. So this is a very cool picture. I absolutely love his mermaids. His mermaids are often drawn like this, long and lean and evil. He draws a lot of dark mermaids. And in fact, I draw on him every mermaid for a horror mermaid. So even if I'm not going to be up to this page by May, but I'll probably do this page for mermaid. And then this double page spread is her sisters. And here she is in human form, but she's leading him like, yay, let's go to the beach. Well, this is the back of some sort of sea monster that they're on. And the beach is just, the waves are just stormy with the ship being caught in a storm and sinking. And what's waiting under the waves is this, right? All the hoards of treasure the mermaids have taken, and then her sisters, which are not looking so friendly. Fantastic double page spread. Another favorite of mine. This whole story is a favorite of mine. I love it that the Little Mermaid has got some power finally and is getting what she wants. It's awesome. All right, so the next fairy tale is The Ugly Duckling. This one is, it's fine. It's just, this one is a little bit ho-hum for me. I want to find a way to make it scary. Here's the Ugly Duckling, who's actually, as we know, is a baby swan. It's not a duck at all. And there's all the birds that have made fun of him. So I really want to make them dark and scary. And this guy, I don't know. He doesn't look scared. He looks really annoyed. His facial expressions look very annoyed. But the way Kerby changed it was the ending. He becomes this magnificent swan, and he totally takes it out on those other birds. These bones and feathers are what's left of the other birds that teased him. So, he basically explodes into this magnificent bird and kills them all. Yeah, so it's interesting. It will be fun to do these 2 pages. It will be, because they're such different feels. So it'll be interesting. I don't have any ideas for this page, this double page spread, but I'm looking forward to every page in here. Okay, this is another one of my favorites, though. This is the Snow Queen. I love the story of the Snow Queen. It's not a happy story either. She throws these shards of ice, and these shards of ice are poisonous. And if they get into your eyes, they kind of make you forget who you are and put you in this long depression, and then she takes you away. You're sort of under her power. And that's what happened to this little boy. He accidentally got some of her shards of ice. And look, this is like a horse-drawn sleigh, and the boy is just sort of in a trance. And the Snow Queen is amazing, the way he drew her. And I love the way he made like the magic swirling here, and then pew, pew, she's sending all of these shards. And this is the boy's sister who has saw what this has happened and is trying to save him. In this real story, she does chase the Snow Queen down, and she does rescue her brother. I think he's just showing an epic battle. He's making it much more of a battle than it was her just chasing him down, sneaking in and saving him. This is actually the race to get to save him, and she's trying to dodge these shards coming at her. She's in this wonderful, Scandinavian Nordic clothing, and she's riding this reindeer. So it's just, I love this double page spread. It's just really cool. And I've got all kinds of ideas for this one. Very excited to get to this one. And of course, I love the villain. The Snow Queen is gorgeous. I always love the villains. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful fairy tale. And I can't wait to get to it. It's going to be amazing. Okay, next we have Little Red Riding Hood. Now this one is heavily textured. It's not grayscale. It's just heavily textured. So this one's going to be a little tricky. I wish it was single-sided because alcohol markers would look gorgeous on this. I might try water-based markers. Sometimes they bleed through Kerby's papers and I'm not very good with them. But here is where Grandma's very aware that there's evil wolves in the woods. I mean, she's got a wolf rug and she's got wolf parts hanging up here waiting to be eaten or something. And she's got a lot of tools, weapons. And this is Little Red Riding Hood. I love it that she has dark hair because I wouldn't know what to do with her hair. But I will give her a red cape here. And Grandma's sending her out with a knife, armed, so that and coaching her and teaching her about this wolf. And that, you know, if you encounter him, you need to kill him. So kind of a foreboding cabin, really. This one will be a lot of browns and stuff because of the wood, which I like. I like coloring cabins. I live in a cabin. I'm surrounded in brown. So I like the color of wood. But I have to think about this one. So I'm glad it's kind of towards the middle of the book. And then she does encounter the wolf. And instead of being tricked by the wolf, she fights the wolf. So look at this wolf. The wolf has like spikes coming out of its back. And it's jumping on her. And look at that stance she has. She is ready to fight. The women in here are so strong. And I actually really, really love these strong women. And then here, she has killed the wolf. And she's wearing its dead head. I don't understand why she did that. Gross. But it's very cool. It's very dark. You know, the headless body of the wolf is here and she's wearing its head. And I dig it. I think this will, with the gnarled dead trees, this will be a lot of fun. You can color this spooky pretty easy. I'm thinking about making the sky like yellow and so that her red really shines, or maybe even all just dark. I don't know. But it's definitely going to be a spooky, spooky page. So looking forward to getting to that one. Okay, next we have the Three Little Pigs, which I don't actually understand these pages very well. And it makes me laugh because these are fire-breathing pigs. These pigs do not let the big bad wolf blow. I mean, the big bad wolf has already destroyed the house of straw and is in the process of destroying the house of wood right here. But the pigs are on it. So this pig, I'd like to think, was either hiding and hasn't gotten into the fight yet, or he's doing the whole tripping the wolf by laying down. And then these two are breathing fire. They're fire-breathing pigs. So the Three Little Pigs are nobody's victim. And in fact, it isn't just the smart one who built the house of bricks back here. It's all of them are fighters. So they're setting this wolf on fire. So pretty intense, Three Little Pigs page. And I'm probably going to laugh the whole time because I don't know. To me, it's funny. These fire-breathing pigs crack me up. I don't see it as scary at all. I see it as hilarious. So I'm looking forward to the fire-breathing pigs. Okay, this is La Llorona. This is another one of my favorites. I love the story of La Llorona, and she drowns her own children. She's not mentally well, and she ends up drowning her own children, and then she ends up regretting it. And so La Llorona is a ghost in Mexico that wails for her lost children. And it said she will steal children thinking they're hers. So she's a horrifying creature. And if you hear like wailing, just this disembodied wailing around you, that's La Llorona mourning her children. So they've done like a Day of the Dead type painting on her, but her face is actually kind of also a face imposed upon a skull. So I'm just thinking this could be really beautiful. And then I think part of her skin might be missing here around her eyes. And then she's got all the flowers. So it's very Day of the Dead here with the candles and stuff. But the page is cut in half diagonally, which is interesting. And it's a wave with her two children drowned. So this is one of my favorite double page spreads in the whole book. A, I love the story, but B, it's just so, it captures everything about this poor woman and what she did in a horrific crime in one page, 2 pages, and just one drawing. I don't know how he does it, but the entire story is here. So yeah, he doesn't change. This fairy tale is already dark. He doesn't change anything about it. He just drew it. And it's gorgeous. And I guess it's not really a fairy tale either. It's sort of just a ghost story. You know, kind of like Bigfoot up here in the Northwest. Mexico has La Llorona. So that, interesting. Okay, this is a Filipino one, and I have to look in the back to remember how to remember the name. Unfortunately, my brain cannot seem to remember it. It is Ibong Adarna. Ibong Adarna. And it goes this way. So Ibong Adarna, so this is, there are 3 brothers, as you see. 1, 2, and 3. And they're supposed to go on a quest to find this magical bird. And of course, the first 2 brothers fail. The youngest brother is going to make it, right? That's the story. So here's the youngest brother. But what he's showing is, but the 2 older brothers who are jealous of the youngest brother end up tricking him. And so it's a very typical fairy tale. However, I love it that he's got these guys like in traditional tribal Filipino garb. And then what he's doing here is showing the story, but as how difficult it was. So here the birds are attacking him as he's trying to run to to find the mythical bird. He's being attacked here. In this one, it's his 2 older brothers who had the first tries, and it's them trying to make their way to find the bird. However, there's giant snakes in the grass, 2 giant snakes in the grass. And I love the implication of that because, at least in the United States, being a snake in the grass is being a deceptive person, right? So these 2 are deceptive people. They pretend to love their little brother, but they're intensely jealous of him. And so they actually trick him. So they are snakes in the grass. And the oldest one has the crown. Yeah, they are like royalty, Filipino royalty. So I think this is cool. And I think all this grass work will be really fun. They're not, it is a double page, but it also signifies time. Like the youngest boy's way behind than these guys. That's why we're up close here and further away here from them. This is further into the future. They've already gone and tried and failed. And now they're going to set up a trap for their little brother. But instead, in Kerby's version, the little brother wins. And he goes and fights the bird. And here's the bird he's supposed to capture, the singing bird. This has healing powers, but there's a giant bird protecting it. And he goes into a fight. His brothers don't end up tricking him. He ends up just being a brave warrior. And, these are almost like the Pompeii or the Vesuvius, was it? Where the volcano that exploded and just froze everybody in ash. That's kind of what these look like to me. These are all the people who have tried before and failed. There's his oldest brother, frozen with the crown on. I imagine his other brother's this one that's missing a head, maybe. Or this one here. Maybe it might be this one with the sword here with the wrapper on his head. But here's the youngest brother. And he is the only one left standing to fight this giant fire-breathing crazy bird to capture the singing bird. And I think it's really cool. I mean, I'm going to have fun making these guys. I'm going to use inspiration from those mummified people from the ancient volcano to make them sort of grays. And then this bird is just going to be a brilliant color. He's going to be the star of this page. I'm just sort of going to make everything neutrals and grays. I make it all about the bird fighting the young prince. I think it's a great page. Awesome. Okay. This is Alibaba. This is Alibaba. So Alibaba, he goes after treasure and he gets captured, and then his brother's daughter or something, sister, wife, somebody, I can't remember, does the dance of the 7 veils, distracts his captors, and he gets away. But here he's made it very dark. He's made the obsession over treasure the focus here on this one. So it's all about the treasure, but the treasure is filled with dangers and death and destruction and brings nobody any good. There's a lot of money and greed in fairy tales, and Kerby really plays upon that. He definitely plays upon the human weakness for valuables and the greed that we have. And then here's the Dance of the Seven Veils, and she's doing a lot. I mean, she conjures up this dragon, and the dragon is doing a good job of killing off everybody. So she's pretty powerful here. She's not just doing a dance where she's taking off, you know, in the Dance of the Seven Veils, you have 7 layers of silky gauzy clothing on, and you're slowly taking them all off, basically. It's a striptease. Here, she's not necessarily strip teasing. She's conjuring up a freaking dragon. And she's, you know, she's going Terminator on everyone, which I love. I love the empowerment of women in Kerby's versions. She's opened up a can of whoop ass on these guys. Awesome. And it'll be fun to make her like lit, like somehow highlight her with all this fighting going on around her. This is not a double page spread, I don't think. No, it's not. But they do go together. I love it that the pages go together even if they aren't a double page spread. Okay, for some reason people don't, this one is one that's very disturbing to people, I think, is what I've heard. This is Pinocchio, and I don't understand. This is one of the more benign ones, I think. You can see what he's done here. Pinocchio is not a good little boy. Pinocchio is an evil little boy. And he never makes it to boyhood. He stays as a puppet because he's evil. And he looks evil. And he has got Geppetto wrapped up like a marionette. He is in control here. So Geppetto has created him, but he's created a monster. And this page is cool because this frame is all wood carving of toys and stuff. So you can have fun with reddish browns and yellow browns and dark browns and just give it all sorts of dimension. It's a wood carved frame. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I think that could be really, really cool. And then, of course, he's in, I'm going to make it a stone cabin because otherwise it's going to be way too much brown. And because he's got all this brown on the, you know, the wood workplace, and he's made out of wood, and these are all wood, everything's wood. So it'll be interesting doing a page with all this wood. I definitely won't want to make his clothing brown. But yeah, Pinocchio is no bueno. And then here is one of my other favorite stories, Sleeping Beauty. So I absolutely love this witch. The way he's made her so huge. So in the story, there are 7 fairies that come to bring blessings when Beauty is born. And then between the second to the last and the last fairy, a witch appears and she curses her and says that she will prick her finger on a spinning wheel and she will die. And then she disappears. So here's the witch. And then the 7th fairy says, well, I can't take away that curse, but I can make it so that instead of dying, she sleeps for 100 years. And then she can be revived by love's true kiss. So in this page, Kerby has drawn this happening with the witch and little innocent Sleeping Beauty. But the witch is, I mean, she is awesome. She is so cool. The fact that he gave her butterfly ears when she's so ugly. I mean, she's awful. And she's huge. These are her shoulders. She looks like she's made out of foliage, plants, wood. And she goes all through here. This is all of her. And so inside of her here, he has put what actually happens is that the vines grow over the kingdom, and these vines are restraining everybody from helping Sleeping Beauty. So they're wrapping around people's eyes and ears. These are the other fairies holding them back. They're all fairies that have wings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's the 6 fairies that came before the witch. So this is just a double page spread, and it's very, very cool. Her arm is here. So the witch has got like a big cape. It might even look like she has giant butterfly wings here. So she is this is a cool page. I love this page, and I'm going to have great fun with it. And then Sleeping Beauty continues to this beautiful page. Whoa. Is that not gorgeous? When I got to this page, when I was looking through it, I stopped and stared at it for a long time. It is stunning. I mean, Kerby, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous page. Who knew he could draw faces? Who knew? And so Sleeping Beauty is sleeping. And then here is the prince trying to get to her, but he's having troubles. His horse is being held back and pulled apart by the vines. He can't get to her. So in Kerby's version, he can't get to her. The vines hold him back, and he shows how creepy that they all are. The vines all have eyes and teeth, and the birds are evil with teeth, and they're attacking him, and he just can't get to her. And I think it's a really awesome. I love how he hasn't made the horse look real. The horse is skeletonized too, because I would hate to think of a real horse being pulled apart. But everything about this shows that the curse is alive and he can't get to Sleeping Beauty. So it's just, I love this whole spread. So yeah, Little Mermaid and Sleeping Beauty are my favorites. And La Llorona, of course. Okay, now we have this is the Glass Mountain. And this is, what country is this one from? The Glass Mountain is Polish. This is a Polish fairy tale. And in this, they're trying to get up the Glass Mountain. You know, it's a quest type fairy tale. But this guy is having troubles. He's being held back by, invisible zombie witchy hands. He's riding this magnificent horse. I mean, this is a really cool, some kind of a conquistador type guy, but it's this Polish. But it's really cool. His armor and everything, super cool. And he's fighting this giant bird, which looks like it's made of glass shards too. And then here's all the former people who have tried to attempt this quest and not made it to. And the mountain's glass. And you can see the reflection of the castle in it. Isn't that cool? So this one will be really fun to work with reflection, things I don't yet know how to do. So I'm going to have fun trying to make this look like just sheer reflective glass. It's going to be cool, I think. And if you hear snoring in the background, we all know who that is. That's Jack. He is sound asleep. Okay. This is my other favorite storyline. This is probably tied with The Mermaid to being my very, very favorite. This Cinderella spread is as good as the mermaid spread. That one mermaid with her in the water and then having killed Ursula, the witch. This is that to me as well. This was the pages I was going to start with if I was going to start, but then I just was like, I'm not sure I want to do my ultimate favorite pages first, and there were just so many other pages calling to me. So I just decided I couldn't give preference to anything and had to start at the beginning. I have so many ideas for how to do this carriage. It's a rotten pumpkin. The birds are like carrion crows. The horses are like, they remind me of those dead horses in Harry Potter that only people who've experienced death or extreme tragedy can see. I forgot what they're called, but they're those invisible horses. They look a lot like them. And then all around is a pumpkin patch. The trees are barren. It's just amazing. I mean, it's just everything about this page. The way it's drawn, the creativity behind it, I just think this is brilliant. I love it that these are giant spikes coming off of the wagon wheels. It's just not right, And then he's got Cinderella, but instead of dancing with her prince, she's dancing with death. So this was not the greatest choice for her to come to this ball. And she's crying. She now is like, got herself caught up in a situation she was not expecting. And she is now, Death's bride. But I love the way Death is drawn. Look at it. I mean, he's almost handsome. How did he make a skull handsome? He reminds me a lot, his mannerisms, his clothing, the way he's so commanding. He reminds me a lot of Phantom of the Opera. But he's amazing. Her dress is amazing. This whole thing, and this is really detailed. This will take a long time. This is not just swaths of painting. This is super detailed. But wow, the tile, the dresses back there. I mean, Death himself is just so neat. It's cool that it's heavily textured because that will help with shading. There'll be less shading to do. But these 2 pages, I think, are just stunning. They really showcase his talent. And at drawing people, who knew? Amazing. I love that. Okay, here's the wacky, well, one of the wackier ones. This is Wizard of Oz, and I do like it. Here's, of course, the tornado. This happens. We all know the tornado, but it's torn apart her house. Like it's like it's not carrying her away and the weird lady with the bicycle. No, it's like bam. It's like tore up that house. And here's little Dorothy down here. And then this page is pretty awesome. I mean, it's the trio doing the whole hero's walk, but they aren't missing anything. Like the Scarecrow's got his brain right there on a pitchfork. And he's pretty competent. He looks pretty evil. And then the Tin Man has got blood dripping from his axe, and his heart is in his hand. So he's got what he needs. And it looks like that lion has got all the courage he needs. So these are like really, really wicked, the trio. They're out for blood. And I get it, they're like Dorothy's protectors, right? They're not going after Dorothy. They're Dorothy's protectors. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty wacky, and I think it's pretty cool. But Wizard of Oz continues to this double-page spread, and where Dorothy is definitely got the upper hand on the witches. She's fighting, and one thing I've noticed in a lot of these is that the women warriors that he draws are somehow jumping up in air, and they're all in these really cool poses. Very few of them are actually standing on the ground. So here's the winged monkeys. Here's some skeleton warriors. Here's 3 witches, and she's throwing the water on the one to melt her. Her crown is flown off. This is, I think, pretty brilliant. There's the castle. I'm definitely going to make that the Emerald Castle, make it green. But yeah, Dorothy is doing fine all on her own. Okay, here we have Aladdin and the magic lamp. And in the story, he discovers the magic lamp has a genie in it. He steals the lamp. He discovers it has a genie in it. He uses it to get 3 wishes, and he gets rich. He has a beautiful bride, and he lives happily ever after. Well, in this version, there's the genie, all powerful, little Aladdin. He's realized that all this is his. Looking pretty cool here. He's got all these riches. He's got a genie. Well, it all goes to his head, as it does to a lot of the male figures in these fairy tales of Kerby's. And he becomes obsessed with himself and his power. And so here he's riding the genie, who is chained. He has his rug that he's riding on actually stuck to the genie's back with swords. Wow. And there's his beautiful wife, who is a slave and is also chained and sad. So all of this went straight to his head, and now this is Aladdin. So I think these 2 pages are awesome. I love the genie. His interpretation of the genie is phenomenal, and I can't wait to color him. Yeah, I'm very excited about this genie. So, of course, these 2 will be colored at the same time. I'm doing, whether it's a double page or not, I'm doing both pages at the same time because they go together and they have the same characters. So I want the genie to look the same. Okay, this is the 3 little bears. This is Goldilocks. So Goldilocks is here. And again, she's in that jumping in the air, fighting warrior. She's magnificent. And the bears are coming after her. There's Mama, Papa, and Baby Bear. They're exploding out of the cabin. Here's the porridge and the chairs and the bed, and everything is just exploding out. And this again showcases Kerby's ability to create a dynamic, active, moving scene with static lines. I mean, I don't know how he does it. It's just such a testament of his artistry and his work. Pretty cool page, actually. Okay, this one is not one of my favorites, but I think it's cool and I'm going to enjoy it. This is Alice in Wonderland, of course. She's falling down the rabbit hole. But these rabbits are like not nice. Like they look like they might even be biting her. And she's falling into a hole of skulls. Human and rabbit skulls. And then around this hole that she's all falling into is the things pertaining. There's the Cheshire Cat, there's the hookah smoking caterpillar, there's a timepiece, there's some cards, another timepiece. So a lot of things. There's the hat, but it's got like Cthulhu tentacles coming out of it. It's all really kind of creepy. There's the mirror. It's all kinds of stuff around, and she's going into this hole, and it doesn't look very inviting. It looks pretty scary. I think this page would be really cool once this double page, once it's all colored. I think it'll be very dynamic and awesome. It's a lot of fiddly bits, though. It's a lot of rabbits. So you got to plan for that. And then the next 2 pages are another 2 favorites of mine. Right up there, pretty close, right up there with the mermaid. I'm pretty close to the Cinderella pages, is these 2. Oh, the Red Queen and the Mad Hatter. Putting their world on their heads was so brilliant. So here's the Red Queen, and of course she isn't nice to begin with, but now she's really scary. That's her face. I want to make this feathery, ruffly thing around her just brilliant red. She's going to have a lot of reds. Her crown has like people's faces and skulls around the side, and then on it, here are some of her card soldiers. Look like they're in armor, but it looks like they might be made out of paper or wood. And then she has a magnificent 4-eyed dragon right there. And the dragon has like claws on the end of its tail. I mean, this is phenomenal, I think. And this is just an amazing page. But then you go over to here and you've got the Mad Hatter. And he's got a monocle, but his face and his teeth are just intense. And he's also got ruffles and fancy clothing. But then his hat has got the Mad Tea Party, and they're all masked. They're like humans that are masked as these animals. And then Dorothy is chained by the stopwatch, and she's being held captive. So yeah, this is spooky. But these 2 pages together, I think, are going to be stunning. I think these 2 pages are so cool. Again, I don't know where he gets his ideas, but he certainly is brilliant. And he better not make me wait another 2 years for a new book. That's all I'm saying. Okay, this is Snow White and Rose Red. This is not the Snow White story. Snow White and Rose Red were sisters who take in a bear and take care of this bear who comes during the winter and keeps him safe while he's hibernating and stuff. And then come spring, when he's awake, he saves them from a woodcutter or somebody evil. And this page here is my favorite of the spread. This is Rose White or Snow White and Rose Red. I don't know which is which. You can make either one. This one has a rose in her hair and roses on her shirt, so maybe she's Rose Red, but I don't think it matters. And they're both holding these really cool lanterns, and then around them is this spooky forest stuff. Like that's a head of a deer. There's skulls. And all the animals are sort of zombified and dead. And the snake has skeletons. I mean, this is a cool page. I'm looking forward to see what my Colorful Country Life does with this, because she'll do amazing things with the light from the lanterns and everything. She's pretty good at making things look elegantly spooky, that's for sure. Can we see? Terrifyingly elegant. Yes. And then this is them with their bear. Not only... Oh, it's a dwarf. That's right. It's a dwarf who comes, an evil dwarf who comes, and the bear protects them. Well, the bear is doing a little more than protecting them from this dwarf. This bear is like, they're hunting him down. And the girls are like, you go, bear. These girls are greatly empowered. And again, another really ferocious bear. I love his bears. His bears are just like in the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Really, really cool. Chasing that dwarf. Yeah, it's an awesome page. But this one I like the best. I think it's gorgeous. This is the Pied Piper of Hamelin. This already is a spooky fairy tale. It's been toned down to where the Pied Piper gets rid of all the rats in Ireland or the snakes in Ireland or whatever version of the story you hear. And he plays his pipe and all these vermin sort of follow him out of the world or the country or something. But kind of the original version of the story is it's children that he enraptures, and the children follow him out to never be seen again. So Kerby has drawn upon that version of the story tale, and there's the Pied Piper, and he looks like pretty spooky guy, scary, playing his flute, which is also pretty scary, like a death flute thing. And here's all these pupilless, eyeless children who have just sort of fallen for him. And Kerby has done a fantastic job of showing just sort of the vacant smiles of like a cult follower, just sort of following him. And they all have these rats on them and they don't seem to care. I mean, this one has a rat in his mouth. Yeah. Yeah. There's rats everywhere, but they don't care. They're following the Pied Piper. This is like a cult leader and a cult following. This is spooky. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great drawing. He's done such a good job. Like, look at this one. This one's like, oh, there's a rat on my arm. Oh. I mean, he's done such a good job to tell the story. Most people wouldn't want a rat on their head or in their mouth or on their eyeballs. But all they care about is the music and following the Pied Piper. Yeah. It's a good one. It's a really good one. Okay, we have the Nutcracker. This one he greatly altered. She's a sad, neglected, semi-abused little girl who nothing good is going to happen to her. Here's a Christmas tree of death. And it's not the happy little girl dancing into the tree that we normally associate with the Nutcracker. And here she meets Nutcracker, and instead of him being a dashing, young savior in her dreams who's gonna come and be her friend, instead he's pretty evil, and he's sort of manipulating her like a puppet. I think it's cool. I love that the Nutcracker is so larger than life. And then they go into the battle with the seven-headed Rat King, Mouse King. In all the Nutcrackers I ever saw, the Mouse King didn't have 7 heads, but in the story he does. In the real story he does. And it's all a dream. So here she is sleeping, but she's not sleeping well. Nope. And there is the 7-headed Mouse King, and he is horrible. Absolutely horrible. And then the Nutcracker and the Sugar Plum Fairy, they're not nice either. They're supposed to be nice little friends. It's a happy little dream, Christmas dream. No, there's a bunch of rats coming for her, being led by the Sugar Plum Fairy and the Nutcracker, who was turned into a soldier. So this is not good. Yeah. But it's a pretty awesome interpretation of it, because I think the original is darker than what we see in the ballet. But, yeah, pretty intense, huh? Okay. This is the other favorite story in here of mine. So to recap, it's The Little Mermaid, it's La Llorona, it's Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and this one, Rumpelstiltskin. Look at this. Rumpelstiltskin is definitely in control here. And he kind of is in the beginning of the fairy tale, right? Like, he's telling her he wants her to spin this wheat into gold. And what does she get in return for it? I don't know, something. And she's supposed to be paying, because she's been told, that's right. Her new husband, the king or whatever, has told her that she needs to spin this, has heard that she could spin wheat into gold, and he's told her she has to do that. She can't do it. She's going to be killed in the morning if she doesn't get it done. So Rumpelstiltskin appears to her and says, I can do it. And so he does it. And he does it for 3 nights. And, her husband is pleased with her, and she doesn't get killed, but she can't pay Rumpelstiltskin back. So Rumpelstiltskin says, well, I'll take your firstborn child. And she's like, okay, anything. So she marries the king, blah, blah, blah. Time goes by. She gets pregnant. She has the baby. And then Rumpelstiltskin comes and says, time for me to have the baby. And she's like, whoa, you were serious? I'm not going to give you my baby. And Rumpelstiltskin says, well, if you can guess my name, you get 3 tries. And of course, we know that she fails the first 2, and then she's distraught. She finds him in the woods and spies on him, and he's chanting his own name. So she knows, she gets his name, and she gets to keep the baby. So what's happening here is it's showing Rumpelstiltskin's control over her by, he's not really spinning gold. He's taking these wheat sheaves and he's spinning it into a web that's holding her captive with these spiders coming in on her. So it kind of shows, you know, time is ticking and you're running out of it, and Rumpelstiltskin has the upper hand here. However, this, oh my gosh, is this page not phenomenal? This is what ends up with Rumpelstiltskin. She finds her power and she just burns him alive. And look at her face. Wow. She has no care. She doesn't give 2 F's for this guy because he's been nothing but horrible. And I think this page is freaking brilliant. You don't have to know the story to really enjoy this page. You don't have to know that this is even Rumpelstiltskin. Just to see this magnificent woman burning this person with all these candles. Oh my gosh. It's just, I'm going to make her out of fire, creating fire. There's going to be a lot of fire. She is very, very cool. So this double page, not double page, these 2 pages, I think are just brilliant. Really, this is the stronger of the 2 pages. And just that expression on her face, wow. So those are my favorite stories in this book. Okay, this is the Goblin. I have to look this one up always too. This one is, we've gone through Cinderella, Rumpelstiltskin, the boy who had an eating match with a troll. And this is a Norwegian folktale. So Yolanda, have you heard of this one? This is, the boy has an eating match with a troll, but in the fairy tale, he plays all kinds of tricks that make it look like he's eating a lot, but he's really not. He's playing tricks on the troll, and he wins the contest. But here, he's kind of showing the 2 faces, that there isn't that much difference between the troll who wants to beat the boy and the boy who's using trickery to beat the troll. They both have their dark sides. Neither one of them is the hero in this story. So he's showing that by doing the 2 faces juxtaposed and cut in half next to each other. And then showing, you know, all of the food that the boy's got here and some of his tools of trickery. And then the troll has got all of the food he's got and his tools of trickery. So it's just like, it's a comment, what the story says in the back. It's a comment that sometimes there isn't much difference between the hero and the villain. Yeah. So this one can be really cool depending on how you color it. I would have to think long and hard about it. Do you color it as 2 separate pages? Do you color this? I mean, how do you get across what Kerby's trying to get across? Kerby's using his ink pens, but how do we, with color, keep faithful to the image, showing that there isn't much difference between these 2? Yeah, so interesting. Okay, this is Beauty and the Beast. There's a lot of damage that's happening in this story. This is the evil witch turning the man into the beast. It took me a bit to figure out what this page was. But I thought, is that Beauty? No, that's the evil witch. Beast is in his castle and he's becoming the beast. And then here the beast finds the dad who's trimming the rose, trying to get a rose for his daughter, and captures him. Captures him with the vines of the rose, and there's the beast, and he looks pretty spooky. He's out in front of his castle. So, you know, cool pages. Here is Beauty. Beauty, the way the story in the back says, Beauty starts to absorb some of the darkness of this castle, and she doesn't let anybody mess with her. So here she is fighting, you know, monkeys and crazy bat things, and she's in the air again in this warrior stance with a sword. And she's here in the library. It's a pretty cool dynamic picture of her just fighting off all these things. And she looks fairly confident, doesn't she? And she's so confident that when she finally, when Beast, she goes away when Beast gets ill and she realizes she's in love with Beast, she comes back and, you know, expresses her love, and that breaks the curse. Well, that isn't what happens in Kirby's tale. In Kirby's tale, she comes back and kills the Beast. She's like, you kept me trapped in this place. You're dead. And so she chopped off his head. And there's his body laying there. There's a lot of decapitation happening in this book. Of all the pages in this story, this is the one I like the best. I think this is really well done. I think it tells a story all on its own. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, this one, the match girl. This is Danish. Yes, this is Danish. I love this story. I've heard it before and I love it. And this is, Kerby didn't change it. He just illustrated it. And this is a girl who's homeless, out in the cold. She doesn't have adequate clothing on, no shoes, and she lights a match for warmth. And in this match, she sees the image of her loving grandmother. And so when the match goes out, she lights another one, and she sees the grandmother offering her food, and she lights another one, and she keeps seeing images of her home and her grandmother. It's basically her dying. And then she's found eventually, like the next day, frozen to death with the empty matches, with the burned out matches scattered all around her. So it's a very, very sad story. And this is what how Kerby depicted it. I think this drawing is beautiful. Absolutely breathtaking. Grandma's here. You can tell she's kind of ethereal, not real. Here's the food. Everything's sort of melting, you know, and wispy. There's the Christmas tree in the background. I mean, this is just so well done. It's really obvious that this isn't real. And then here's the girl who's very solid and very real in front of the brick wall, lighting her candle. So this is going to be the focal point here, this light source. So you can make the light off of her face and the light shining on Grandma. Behind her is death that's coming for her. So it's a very, you know, and there's dead rats around. It's showing that there's no hope for this girl, but she's dying with her, thinking that she's with her grandmother. So these pages, I think, are just, they're sad, but they're absolutely breathtaking. So touching. Again, who knew he could draw people? Grandma doesn't have any pupils or eyeballs. I mean, it's obvious she's an apparition, but the girl, you know, the way she's clutching her clothes and her look of longing in her face. Oh, is that not beautiful? Yeah. This book is worth it for this page alone, this double page spread alone. Kerby is, I thought Alien Worlds was Kerby at his best. I don't know. I don't even know if Kerby has a best. I think he just is bestless. He just keeps going and going. There's no cap at his creativity and his artistic talent, because this book, wow. To be able to tell such a story in just 2 pages with just fine liners, I don't know. I don't know how he does it. This is the one I was talking about that to me is sort of boring. I'm not into this page that much. This is Puss in Boots. And in here, Puss in Boots actually is, all of his adventures, he's actually in control of. And it shows Puss in Boots having all the power over all of the things he meets in his adventures. And so everybody is like shackled and tied by their neck, and, you know, they're just all, it's okay. It's just, and some people may love it because of the cat, the evil cat. But I don't really get it. And although, you know, this is interesting and will be fun to depict because they're actually inside the cat. Like the cat is see-through or hollow, or it's just the image imposed upon the cat, but he's looking at them and they're looking at him. But it's not my favorite. But it's going to get done because this book is, I'm not going to waste any page. No page is going to be uncolored. Okay, this is Hansel and Gretel. This page I really, really love because it shows the candy castle and them running up to it. And I love drawing candy and stuff. But then it shows the reflection of the castle, kind of like the mermaid page. And it's just this old, broken down, scary, haunted house looking thing with the children running up to it. So maybe I'll practice reflections with this page before I try that mermaid one. But I really do want to go in order. because I don't actually know. I'm going to watch her. My Colorful Country Life has a tutorial on that, and I'm going to watch her color along to see how she did I think reflection is done just by using slightly darker colors than the one above. I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely want to make this look like it's a reflection. However, remember at the beginning, I said there was one page that disturbs me, and that's this one. Holding her down and force feeding her, because in this version of the story, instead of the witch throwing them in the oven and them having to escape, they gang up on her and hold her down and force feed her until she dies. Yikes. They've got her in a pot on fire, and it looks like they're making stew out of her. It's not that I won't do this page, because there's so many really cool elements back in here, and I really can't wait to do those things. But this is disturbing to me. I don't know. Something about it is, it's not just fighting, it's torture, So this page does disturb me. But you know what? I appreciate it for what it is. And I appreciate that Kerby pushes the envelope, pushes boundaries, tests boundaries, and goes where other people, I've never seen a colorist go before, or an artist go before. So I can appreciate that, and I will color this. But yeah, I might have nightmares afterwards. Okay, this one, I love this. This is Jack and the Beanstalk. So it goes like this, similar to the Alice in Wonderland one. Here's the beanstalk, growing up, up, up. And as it goes up, the plants start turning into pitcher plants. They're those carnivorous plants. And one is actually eating the goose that lays the golden eggs. And here's the golden eggs falling out of the goose. And there's these pitcher plants. They've got the harp over here is being drawn through. And then here, this perspective, I've never seen Kerby do this before. This perspective of being so close, looking up the nose, basically, of the giant. And he's got pitcher plants all around him, and he's going to eat Jack. So Jack's getting eaten by the giant in this version. This giant is terrifying. This is straight out of a Mythagoria book, isn't it? And the fact that we're seeing down his gullet and up his nose and his eyeball, it's just like, wow. But I love it. I love it when artists play with perspective, and this is phenomenal. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Again, I use paint. I use watercolor pencils. I love to use the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. It works super well. It's like a marriage made in heaven with those pencils and this paper. And so I just use a water medium to do this, and it goes really fast with a paintbrush. So this one won't take that long, but I love it. I do love it with the perspective. I think it's going to be really cool when it's done. And that's the end. So here's all the stories. They will help you understand what's happening in the pages, especially with the fairy tales you might not be interested in. You might not be, what am I trying to say? Not interested, but you've not be familiar. You might not be familiar with. I know I've talked a lot and I've gone kind of slow through this. That's the way I do flip throughs. But what do you think? That's like the fourth time I've gone through it now. And it doesn't make me love it any less. I still want another copy of this book. I've never, ever wanted a copy of a book before, ever. I don't color pages twice. I would rather have a new book than a copy of the same book, but I just think another copy of this book needs to be in my collection. One that I don't break the cover on. I don't totally mess up, because you've seen my version of Alien Worlds and you've seen what I do to books. I'm hard on books. This is such a collector's edition of a book, with the unusual material that makes up the cover, with everything about this book. It's just so unusual, so different from anything, even Mythagoria's. It's different from everything, that I want a second copy that I just don't touch. Isn't that crazy? So let me know what you think about it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know some people really didn't like it at all. It was just too dark and creepy. But it is called Dark Fairytales. And he does have a really creative mind, so it wasn't going to be a happy book. But I really, truly think he did capture that darkness that's within us that we like to pretend is not there. So where Mythagorias are dark because there's gore and blood and, you know, bloody hearts and scary fairies and things like that, it's all mythological, it's all fantastical, none of it is real. This taps into stuff that's in our minds that, you know, could be real. That greed, that hunger for power, that addiction to money and power once you get it, the helplessness of being in control of others, and the desire to break that control and fight back, and not just only fight back, but dominate and win. I mean, these are really dark emotions that all of us are capable of. And so I think that's part of the disturbing part of this isn't, yes, these are fairy tales, so they're not real stories, but they kind of touch a nerve, I think. I think they touch a nerve in us. And that so many of these characters are real human beings showing their own weaknesses. It's disturbing. So I think that's what's bothering people, because there's definitely books out there that are more gory than this. Pick up any Mythagoria and you're going to have a book that's, you know, grosser than this is. This is just a little too real. So, and I love that. I love it when an artist butts up against things that are uncomfortable for us. It makes us look at ourselves. It makes us really think. And I think that's what art is for. So let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this flip through, and I'll see you in the next video. I love you. Bye-bye.